last day of April, and at the beginning of this month there was a lot in terms of the numbers going by the expected and projections that were given by the Ministry of Health. Thank God that the numbers aren't where they were projected to be, and that is at least 10,000 cases that would have been confirmed. But of course, there is the issue of the number of people who have been tested. Currently, just over 20,000 tests have been carried out in the country, and the government still says that we cannot afford to put our guard down. And the global numbers, just to look at what's happening around the world and where we are at least 3.2 million cases have been confirmed of the coronavirus, with over 229,300 cases of people who have been killed. That's actually lives that have been lost to the coronavirus. And there you have it also with the worst affected, that is US, and in the continent it's not as bad as the rest of the world, but still one life is one too many, and that is the status of the numbers as we are right now. To the other stories of the night. Tonight, 22 people succumbed to cholera in Marsabit County as the wanting state of healthcare facilities is exposed.
Hapa hakuna choo, kila mtu anahara tambarari. Hospitali hakukuwa na madawa, hakukuwa na maji, yote haina usaidizi.
Malaria infections are also picking up as the rain comes down. Also tonight, life as usual at a coronavirus hotspot.
It's a matter of concern because the disease is a disease that is transmitted through close contact.
April closes way below COVID-19 positive projections, but not out of the woods. Plus, a new general in town. General Robert Kibochi to take over from Samson Mwavede as Chief of Defense Forces.
These officers are expected to assume office under their new positions on May the 11th, 2020.
And the man who lives with his baboon. Baringo man's wife and children left because of his domesticated friend moving in.
NTV Tonight with Mark Masai.
Thank you once again for joining us on NTV Tonight, and I'm joined as well by David Agundoa, our sign language interpreter. And to our top story, April has been a tough but defining moment for the country in its fight against the coronavirus disease. About 10,000 cases were projected at such a time today, forcing the government to introduce stringent measures, including curfew and travel restrictions within and around hotspot counties. Although confirmed cases are way lower than earlier estimated, health authorities warn Kenyans cannot afford to be complacent. Seth Olale with the latest update on the status of the pandemic in the country.
On April 1st, there was no fooling anyone on the threat of coronavirus. It was no prank that by the end of this month, there would be thousands of coronavirus patients in Kenya. Even though today's update was nothing close to what was projected, the health authorities still prescribe a state of preparedness for the worst.
It is the month in which our resilience as a people has been tested to its limit. It is the month when the containment measures were issued, which required us to make certain sacrifices and adjustments to our everyday lifestyles. This was the only way to effectively fight this war that we are fighting.
Despite the government saying the measures put in place to contain the pandemic have paid off, it is no reason to drop the guard against COVID-19.
So modeling is supposed to help you determine the number of ICU beds that you require, the number of ventilators that you may require for COVID-19, the number of personal protective gear that you require for the frontline healthcare workers.
The only welcome rise of numbers is that of recoveries. Kenya today registered 15, its highest number of patients discharged in a day, bringing the total to 144. 210 patients are still admitted at various hospitals across the country, with 208 in stable condition.
Basically, our healthcare workers are just observing them for any ill effects of COVID-19. It's only 2 who are in a critical condition on ventilatory support, but one of them is also improving.
But despite the successes, the grim number of deaths to the coronavirus disease rose by 2 to 17. After 777 samples tested in the last 24 hours, there were 12 new COVID-19 patients confirmed. 7 are from Mombasa, 3 from Nairobi, and 1 each from Kitui and Wajir, the first ever case to be registered in the latter.
This positive case is a 36-year-old Kenyan from Garissa County.
Up to 20,268 people have been tested since the first case was confirmed over a month ago. Today being the 47th day since Kenya confirmed its first case, the government hopes that the upcoming days will give it a clear picture of the status of the COVID-19 in the country, even as it rolls out its first cluster testing in Kawangware tomorrow. Seth Olale, NTV, Nairobi.
Well, the government now says it will start targeted mass testing on residents of Kawangware from tomorrow, as it has emerged as one of the hotspots within Nairobi. The government is escalating surveillance in the area to help suppress the virus spread, as residents are ignoring the COVID-19 protocols and continuing with life as usual. NTV's Kennedy Moreithi reports.
It is a fact that there is total disregard of the coronavirus prevention protocols in Nairobi's Kawangware slum. A spot check by NTV today revealed it is life as usual as people went on their businesses, completely disregarding the social and physical distancing rules put in place by the government. The government has put the number of confirmed cases in Kawangware at 14 today. It is projected the numbers could go high.
Whenever we have a positive case in any of our densely populated areas, it's a matter of concern, because the disease is a disease that is transmitted through close contact.
So as we start the targeted mass testing tomorrow in Kawangware, we'll be better informed to be able to tell you. And again, modeling is not a statutory target. It keeps on changing depending on the data you input and depending on the behavior of the virus that you are dealing with.
To the residents of Kawangware, the disease is alien, and because they live from hand to mouth, their priorities are clear. Police officers have been forced to patrol the area, calling on the residents to observe laid down rules to keep the virus at bay, including breaking off small gatherings.
Kawangware tuko na shida, watu tuko congested, wengine wanalia chakula, kila mtu analia kivyake.
Tuko katika hali ya hatari sana, imetutia uoga mwingi, na tunataka serikali ichukue hatua kali sana kwa watu wa Kawangware, kwa sababu wengi wetu inaonekana ni kama hata hatujali.
As long as watu wanatembea, lazima hakuna hasa ukipanga watu wa Kawangware watatoka hapa mpaka Maimayu wakitembea kwa mguu ukiwapanga 1 meter.
The Ministry of Health also says it is worried about how people are conducting themselves in Kawangware area, and the fact that the emergence of the area's name in the news does not bother the residents.
Hii Dagoretti North ndio iko karibu na Kilelesho hapa na Kilimani na Lavington. Mambo ikiharibika, hao wakubwa ambao wanasimamia wengi wanakaa hapa na wanafunga macho moja asif hakuna Kawangware.
Dagoretti North MP Simba Arati has swung into action, calling on the police to effectively enforce the laid down procedures, insisting the spread of the virus in the area could turn to be a new epicenter. Kennedy Moreithi, NTV.
Well, even as all efforts are geared towards containing the spread of the virus within the country and the counties, there is concern about how we are exposed with our neighboring countries within the EAC, as reports are coming out now and quite worrying so 50 people have died today in Dar es Salaam owing to the COVID-19 disease. Sources have indicated Tanzania's main opposition leader on Wednesday accused the government of hiding information on the coronavirus and failing to take the pandemic seriously. Tanzania is one of few countries in Africa that has not taken extensive measures against the virus, and President John Magufuli is among a handful of world leaders still playing down the seriousness of the disease. The country recorded its first case of the coronavirus on March 16th, and in a little over 2 weeks, cases have jumped from 32 to 480, with 16 deaths officially recorded. The veracity of the numbers released by the government have been questioned. Other East African countries have implemented lockdowns, curfews, and strict social distancing measures. In Tanzania, schools and universities have been shut, but markets, bus stops, and shops bustle as usual. Magufuli has claimed God would protect Tanzanians from the virus and has urged people to keep working as usual. Well, there's been some changes in the military, at least imminent. President Uhuru Kenyatta has appointed General Robert Kibochi Kariuki from the Kenya Army as the next Chief of Defense Forces in military changes announced today at State House. General Kibochi, who was until today's appointment the Vice Chief of Defense Forces, takes over the reins of Kenya's military from his predecessor, General Samson Mwadebe, who is retiring after serving for 5 years. Further to these promotions, Lieutenant General Levi Mgalu is the new Vice Chief of Defense Forces designate. Major General Jimson Mutai will be the commander of the Kenyan Navy. The 3 officers are expected to assume office on May 11th, 2020. The outgoing Chief of Defense Forces, General Mwadebe, was at State House, Nairobi, when President Kenyatta, the Commander-in-Chief of the Defense Forces, announced the changes.
I look forward to working with these gentlemen as closely as I have served with their predecessors in the service of our motherland. And for you, General, I wish you, as is said in the Navy, fair winds and following seas. And I wish you the very best in your future endeavors. I thank you all, and may God bless you. Asanteni sana.
Remember the widow in Kisauni who boiled or had to boil stones to convince her children that dinner was cooking? Well, tonight we are reporting that Penina Kitsao has received overwhelming support from Kenyans. The 36-year-old mother of 8 is happy and thanks Kenyans who contributed all types of resources, including money and food items. Kevin Mutai now reports.
A different day, a different story. A new day and beginning at Penina Kitsao's home in Mleji village, Kisauni constituency. Well-wishers were still supplying her with food and other household items a day after NTV highlighted her story. Few days ago, Penina boiled stones to make her children think dinner was being prepared, hoping they would just fall asleep.
Nilikuwa kilio changu ni watoto wanapata shida chakula, lakini nimeona Kenya yetu watu wamenishika mkono. Ninashukuru Mungu sana. Hata sina la kusema, yote ni Mungu peke yake ndiye anaweza.
She did not have a phone and was given one yesterday, but she is unable to maneuver, and now there's a concern over the safety of the monies wired to her phone as she remains vulnerable to online fraudsters.
Wajua kutumia simu?
Ani sijasoma vizuri. Sijasoma ni.
Kwa hivyo una hakika ni pesa ngapi nayo kwa simu yako?
Nitaangalia.
Tulimfungulia akaunti yake Equity Bank jana na tumemwekea M-Pesa yake, lakini kwa vile yeye si mtu ambaye ana kisomo ya kujua kuoperate hiyo vitu vyote. Hata kwa bank tulimwekea kidole maana hajui kuandika.
Fortune visited 15 other families in the area. They were identified today and facilitated with food items under the Household Relief and Nutrition Program from the county government of Mombasa. Kenya Red Cross officials say that over 6,000 families in the larger Junda area and are yet to benefit from the free food distribution.
Nilikuwa nimeolewa, bwanangu akaniacha, nikabaki mimi na watoto 6.
She's one amongst many. And for us, we thought when we are making an intervention, then we need to make for all of them. And that's why as we were moving around, it's not only in Shomoroni or Kisauni, we have issues in all the 6 sub-counties.
Much is written and said about families languishing in poverty, and their accounts rarely draw attention. But thankfully, Penina's cry has echoed to hundreds of well-meaning Kenyans who have given out of the abundance of their hearts. It is not just a meal for tomorrow she has for now, but a new source of income.
Afike kwa ofisi zetu, tutamwangalia nafasi yote ya ajira ambayo itakuwa anaweza kufanya.
Kevin Mutai, NTV, Mombasa.
And we'd like to say, as the NTV family, of course, that brought you the story from Kevin Mutai's efforts there in Mombasa and the team. Asanteni sana. Thank you very much for responding in kind and supporting Penina's family. God bless you. Now, to other concerns that we perhaps should be raising to God. Residents in Mount Elgon have been warned to watch for fault lines that may signify imminent landslides. The region is damaged by landslides every rainy season, and residents living in hilly areas are on slippery ground. Over 500 families in Dabibi have been displaced by flash floods. Rose Wangoi has that report.
Cracks and fault lines in the village of Kapsika in Mount Elgon that is dividing homes quite literally. Not too far from there, residents of Cheptai's village woke up to a deformed landscape following a landslide caused by a downpour. A landslide cut off a section of a farm and deposited the debris to an adjacent land. No casualties were reported in the incident. The entire village has now developed cracks. Residents are now fearing this could be a sign of a major landslide about to hit the area. Many houses in higher areas are coming apart as cracks widen beneath them. Kipson Kiso was forced to abandon his home after it started developing cracks.
Wakati ilianza kitu saa 2 nikaona inabomoka na nilikuwa nje, nikaingia ndani nikatoa vitu ile ilikuwa ingali kwa bomba.
Sauti tukasikia kwa area na hatukujua ni wapi. Kidogo kidogo tunaambiwa kwa mzee kwa mzee miti iko inakatika. Sasa shamba imeenda, kahawa ninategemea katika maisha yangu imeenda. Ndizi nilikuwa nimepanda ili mwaka hii nisaidie kwa njaa, imeteramuka na maji.
Over 500 families in Naivasha have been forced out of their homes after their houses were submerged by flood waters. Water gushing from the nearby hills in Maila flooded farms and homes, and some of the families had to seek assistance from their neighbors. The most affected areas are Moindabi, Dabibi and Kipkonyo villages, where families were forced to spend the night in the cold after their houses were flooded. The 3 villages have been cut off, with transport being disrupted.
Shirika la ADC limelima area ya Kosovo. Baada ya kulima hiyo sehemu imebaki bare. So the water runoff in that place is so huge.
Sasa hakuna biashara inaendelea. Kwa hivyo tunaomba serikali iingilie kati iturudishie hii mto kwa njia yake.
Over 100 families in Guloni location in Matungulu sub-county woke up to flooded homesteads after an overnight downpour. The residents spent Wednesday night in the cold after the floods mopped their houses. They accused local leaders of neglecting their plight. The families say they now face the risk of waterborne diseases, noting that the flood water is contaminated from septic sewers within their homes.
After seeing the ruining rain of the rains around the country, thanks to that report by Rose Wangoi. Let's take a break here on NTV Tonight. Stay with us.
What do you see on the horizon? They say how you start your decade will determine how the rest of it will be. Imagine a decade full of opportunities, investment being one of them. Do you want a place to feed your mind, body and soul? A place to unwind every day, where you can get your health and fitness goals attained? A secure place for your family? a center for quality academic goals for your kids? Or perhaps a place to connect with your friends? Well, you can get all this and more at Amani Ridge, the place of peace, just 20 kilometers from the CBD. Call us today on 0790 300 300 or visit www.optivan.co.ke.
Leo nimekaa mkukukembesha Riang venye utastay safe mtaani, venye kamenuka na rada ni chafu. Riang ya kwanza mtu wangu, kunawa mikono. Hiyo ni sekunde palu, after umewada hapo, unatumia hiyo waba inatiririka. Namba mbekse ni social distancing. Lazima upige gedhugu, lazima mwili wako akue 1.5 meters kutoka kwako ama mita mbekse. Rule number 3, kama huwezi kutulia kejani, dunga mask. Jeshi, pamoja tukomeshe corona.
Good morning, Janet.
Wow! And you are?
I'm Casey. Now help you with anything to do with your KCB bank account. Pay bills, transfers, statements.
You're hired.
I'm your internet banking security ninja. I'm your 24/7 personal assistant.
Super.
So, we can always talk about your account, online, whenever you like. Need a ride?
Let's go.
Alrighty. With you anywhere, anytime.
Register at your nearest branch for KCB Internet Banking today.
Tunafanya awareness ya hii ugonjwa imeanza kutukumba huku. At least kila mtu apeane hiyo nafasi ya mita na kila mtu ajue kuosha mikono yake na vile ataishi at least, kwa sababu hii kitu ni ya kupita tukijifungia kwa pamoja. Mtu ajitenge mwenzake, mtu akae vile inasemekana, hii kitu itapita.
Breastfeeding ruins the shape of your breasts. This myth is false. Feeding your baby at night makes breastfeeding easier. Yes, this is true. Small breasts can't produce enough milk. This myth is false.
Kiss Kids diapers. Kiss Kids, no rashes. Kiss Kids, no rashes. Bye bye rashes. Buy diapers. Choose Kiss Kids.
Do your gums hurt? Yeah. Does your toothpaste contain sage, eucalyptus, myrrh, chamomile? All that in one toothpaste? Yes, try Colgate Herbal. Colgate Herbal contains nature's best herbs and Colgate's fluoride technology to give you strong teeth and healthy gums. Ah, Colgate Herbal. Let's go. Colgate Herbal for strong teeth and healthy gums naturally.
Nyaji wa Kenya. Hii ni public service announcement kuhusu coronavirus.
The Ministry of Health advises all returnees from abroad to self-quarantine for at least 14 days, whether they feel well or unwell.
Wash your hands regularly following the 8 steps of hand washing. Wet hands with warm water. Apply a small amount of soap. Rub palms together. Rub fingers and thumbs and the beads in between. Rub nails on palms. Rub the back of each hand. Rinse with clean running water and dry thoroughly with a clean dry towel.
Furthermore, it is advisable to cover your mouth and nose adequately when sneezing or coughing and immediately dispose of the tissue in a dustbin. Please do not use handkerchiefs if you can avoid it. If disposable tissue is unavailable, cough into your elbow. Try and avoid close contact with anyone showing signs of respiratory illness, such as coughing or sneezing.
Before you share any coronavirus information on social media, please verify it with Ministry of Health to avoid panic and alarm among your fellow Kenyans.
Welcome home to Amani Ridge, the place of peace. Your own urban sanctuary. A lifestyle waiting for you just 20 kilometers from the CBD. A place to unwind and get your health and fitness goals attained. A secure place for your family. A place for your children to have fun. A place to enjoy a sundowner. Success just doesn't happen. You have to make it happen. Make the impossible possible. Invest in Amani Ridge, the place of peace. Luxury you can afford. Call us today on 0790 300 300 or visit www.optivan.co.ke.
When you're facing stubborn stains, you're always in a fierce fight, especially when others are fleeing away. However, Clearsoft. I can make it so easy.
Clearsoft iko na 3 times particle energy to particles to blue, husaidia kutoa mastain ngumu na ina enzymes za kulinda nguo zako ndio ziachwe zikikaa fresh.
Clearsoft kicks out stains kimateki. Serious.
This week on The Trend, he currently has one of the biggest songs in the
Welcome back to NTV Tonight, and also welcome to Flora Tieno, who's tag teaming with David Agondoa, who had started this off. And Nairobi Governor Mike Sonko is poising for battle with President Uhuru Kenyatta and the leadership of the Nairobi Metropolitan Services. The embattled governor is heading to court on Monday to initiate a pullout from a deal in which he handed over key functions of his county to the national government. NTV's senior political affairs reporter Kennedy Mureithi with the details of the unfolding Nairobi County soap opera.
For the second time in a week, Nairobi Governor Mike Sonko dispatched his spokesperson Ben Mulwa to face the full glare of the media and reiterate a position he has been pushing, that of withdrawing from his deal with President Uhuru Kenyatta. Though cautiously not mentioning the president, Mulwa documented tribulations the governor has faced in the 1 month the deal has been in place through people close to the president, whom he says have blatantly disregarded the original deal entered into and chosen to interpret it their own way.
He's actually indeed started the process of terminating the contractual engagement that the Nairobi City County government has with the national government through the deed of transfer that was signed on the 15th of February 2020.
Sources within Sonko's circles indicate court papers have been drawn up, and come Monday, his lawyer Harrison Kinyanjui will be heading to court to initiate proceedings that will see Sonko get his independence, as he believes he is completely choked by the deal in place.
The governor is concerned whether there is another deed of transfer that the officers from the national government are working with apart from what he has.
Yesterday, Sonko wrote a letter to the county's internal auditor expressly noting that he will not cooperate in any ongoing audit, as he had already started the process of withdrawing from the Nairobi deal.
You know, the Nairobi County government does not exist in the atmosphere like the NMS. It has a very clear establishment under the Constitution, the County Government Act, and many other laws, including the PFM.
However, there are fears raised that the governor did not read the deed he signed at State House, and his rant is misinformed. There's another school of thought that suggests he was not given time to read the deed by the president's men and was only told to sign the deed in the hope that his burdens then, including going slow on his court cases and an impending impeachment, would be eased.
We cannot start saying that the governor has declared war against the national government. That is not the position.
But as Sonko fights to walk out of the Nairobi deal, Nairobi County Speaker Beatrice Elachi is accusing Sonko of not consulting enough before rushing into signing the deed.
If you ask the county assembly members, they have no idea why you signed this thing. They have no. I wish you sat down with them and told them, look, I feel cartels have taken me to this route. I am about to do this.
Speaking in defense of the assembly, Elachi says Sonko, through proxies, has been threatening her after she took the decision to work with Nairobi Metropolitan Services.
There is one thing I cannot do. Put 122 members under the bus. That one I'm not also going to. I'm not going to do. I am their team leader. Sure. I have to die with them.
Elachi further notes that the back and forth being witnessed between herself and Governor Sonko, especially on matters budget, was hurting delivery of services to the Nairobi people. Kennedy Mureithi, NTV.
From that latest episode of the drama in the capital to previously in Kisii County, and Kisii rapper Jim Nyakundi, known as Smalls Lethal, claims that he is in a life-threatening situation after he released a song that criticizes the Kisii County government, and he says he is being intimidated and asked to take down his newly released hit single, I'm Offended, and the county has dismissed the claims in the song as falsehoods.
I'm offended, man. Put your mouth where your truth is.
The truth is, music is a form of expression. Expressions whose articulation span across different themes, topics, issues. Jim Nyakundi, a rap artist in Kisii who goes by the stage name Smalls Lethal, put out a song titled I'm Offended. This has in turn offended some people. In the song, he criticizes the county government of Kisii, claiming corruption, non-delivery of some public services, and questionable priorities. Days after he put out the song,
I was arrested by some inspector na guard mwingine. There were about 3 people. So nikapelekwa interrogation for about 3 hours wakiniulizia stories of defamation. Mbona nimetaja watu fulani fulani kwa hiyo song. Nikamwambia wakitajwa hao ndio watu wanafaa kukuwa accountable.
Ngwai mimi natumianga lakini ngwai pia umetuangushanga.
The people meant to be held accountable that he refers to are the leaders running his county. He calls out both the governor James Ongwae and the county's sports, cultural and youth minister Duke Mainga Ondimba for what he terms as failing their people.
Unajua tukiongea issues za mabarabara lazima uongee na governor. Ukiongea issues za uwanja wa michezo lazima uongee na waziri wa michezo. So my plight is what it's reflected in the song. Unaona? Na plight ya youth wengi pia yani. Ni kitu inatuuma. Lazima governor kuwa accountable, na kama sio yeye atupointie fingers. Appoint fingers aseme oya, minister wa trade ama minister wa roads ama minister wa sports. Can you be accountable? The people are asking.
Questions have been raised as to the basis of his arrest, with some saying that this is a case of offense taken when truth is spoken to power. County Secretary Patrick Lumumba said that the issues raised in the song are not true, but did not comment on the arrest. NTV reached out to the Kisii County Police Commander Jebel Ngere to get more information, but he says that he is yet to confirm about the arrest, this being days after the alleged incident. The artist says it is now a life-threatening situation. Anita Nkonge, NTV.
Small but lethal that track is presently. I think it's a hit. And Smalls Lethal says that anyone else who feels touched and would like to use that track can do so, especially in holding to account the leaders who have a bad track record. So put that on the track and you have a hit. We're taking a break here. I'll be back with the business.
Mount Kenya University takes pride in being an academic giant with some of the best infrastructure, imparting knowledge to the best brains in the country and the region. Our members of faculty are keen to deliver market-driven programs in science and humanities with a keen focus on linkages with relevant organizations. We admit both self-sponsored and government-sponsored students under the Kenya Universities and Colleges Central Placement Service. Join us today and train with the best to become the best. Mount Kenya University, unlocking infinite possibilities.
Sona moja imetengenezwa kwa njia spesheli ili kupambana na maumivu kwa haraka.
Sona moja ina aspirin kama kiungo. Sona moja, kitulizo kamili. Maumivu yakizidi, pata ushauri wa daktari.
For a better tomorrow, don't forget to do the 1, 2, 3 with Colgate every night.
Have you shared your bongo points with someone who needs them? Remember to help a friend or anyone in need to buy food using your bongo points. Stay at home, but still stay together with your loved ones and friends using bongo points. Share your story or video of how you've helped a fellow Kenyan to our FB page NTV Kenya, Twitter page at NTV Kenya, Instagram at NTV Kenya, SMS 20686 or our WhatsApp number 0745 925 002.
Heaviness and a burning inside, it could be heartburn.
Kiungulia na kuvimbiwa? Ino inatibu ndani ya sekunde 6 na inatuliza dalili 6 za kiungulia. Kwa hivyo unaweza kuburudika bila kikomo. Ino, tibu haraka kiungulia na tumbo kuvimba.
Nyaja wa Kenya. Hii ni public service announcement kuhusu coronavirus.
The Ministry of Health advises all returnees from abroad to self-quarantine for at least 14 days, whether they feel well or unwell.
Wash your hands regularly following the 8 steps of hand washing. Wet hands with warm water. Apply a small amount of soap. Rub palms together. Rub fingers and thumbs and the bits in between. Rub nails on palms. Rub the back of each hand. Rinse with clean running water and dry thoroughly with a clean dry towel.
Furthermore, it is advisable to cover your mouth and nose adequately when sneezing or coughing and immediately dispose of the tissue in a dustbin. Please do not use handkerchiefs if you can avoid it. If disposable tissue is unavailable, cough into your elbow. Try and avoid close contact with anyone showing signs of respiratory illness, such as coughing or sneezing.
Before you share any coronavirus information on social media, please verify it with Ministry of Health to avoid panic and alarm among your fellow Kenyans.
NTV Business News in association with KCB Internet Banking.
The Central Bank of Kenya, together with other stakeholders in the sector, are mulling over the establishment of a 100 billion shillings credit guarantee scheme to help enhance lending to the high-risk segments of the economy. This comes as questions rise as to whether the recently undertaken slashes on the policy rate are transmitting into the economy to benefit borrowers.
In its April 2020 Monetary Policy Committee meeting, the Apex Bank slashed its policy rate from 7.25% to 7%, signaling the need to enhance lending to the private sector. But with banks being increasingly risk-averse as businesses face an unfavorable operating environment, the central bank is now compelled to think outside the traditional policy so as to inject into the slowing down business environment.
There is an urgent need for some sort of credit guarantee scheme that is correctly structured so there is less moral hazard to ensure that the SMEs can actually borrow at rates that are not at rates that are affordable.
The Central Bank of Kenya governor says that it is important that Kenyans appreciate loan restructuring in light of COVID-19, which is being taken on a case-by-case basis.
You have to present yourself to your bank and then have that discussion, explain how you are affected by the pandemic, and then the rest you can work out a relationship or an outcome that both the bank and yourself are satisfied with.
In its third meeting of 2020, the CBK slashed rates yet again, placing the benchmark rate at 7%.
The MPC decided to reduce the CBR rate, also as a signal to all of us how big this thing is.
In the last 12 months preceding March 2020, growth in the private sector had increased tremendously, with the manufacturing sector and building and construction leading. This was supported by the lowering of the lending rate by commercial banks in response to the reduction in the CBR.
The impact of a reduction by 100 basis points, by 1 percentage point, the CBR, that takes time, but that is working.
CBK now projects that the economy is expected to grow at 2.3% this year, but with the prospects of COVID-19 easing by the year end, 2021 is set to rebound with a growth of 6.4%. Lillian Kiarie, NTV.
Decisions made at State House today by President Uhuru Kenyatta were not just military. There was some monetary decisions also, as he signed into law the Supplementary Appropriation Bill 2020. The new law paves the way for the utilization of 108 billion shillings from the Consolidated Fund for Delivery of Public Services in the financial year ending June 30th, 2020. And on to other decisions as well. Earlier today, the High Court ruled that any company listed on the Nairobi Security Exchange which finds it impractical to conduct a general meeting due to the COVID-19 pandemic or other justifiable reasons is now allowed to hold virtual general meetings subject to a no objection from CMA. The ruling comes against the backdrop of many listed companies' inability to hold general meetings, which ordinarily would be the avenue through which shareholders endorse crucial proposals, which such as the dividends proposed by the management board. Now, most listed companies have thus far been restricted by their respective articles of association from holding virtual general meetings. The ruling, dated April 29th, 2020 and signed by Justice David Majanja, was prompted by an application to the High Court by Scan Group PLC under Section 280 of the Companies Act 2015 for appropriate orders and direction on the matter. Kenyans now have an alternative option of shopping for household supplies from the comfort of their homes and having the goods safely delivered to their doorsteps. This follows the launch of Sendigo, home delivery solutions by logistics platform Sendi. The mobile platform enables shoppers to purchase pantry provisions from Kenyatta Market, City Market, among other local markets and stores. And the company says every order made on the platform will be matched with a donation to a family in need through a partnership with e-commerce startup Sokowatch. And that's a Business Watch. More news after the break.
NTV Business News in association with KCB Internet Banking.
We can always talk about your account online whenever you like.
Register at your nearest branch for KCB Internet Banking today.
Niaje wa Kenya, hii ni public service announcement kuhusu coronavirus.
The Ministry of Health advises all returnees from abroad to self-quarantine for at least 14 days, whether they feel well or unwell.
Wash your hands regularly following the 8 steps of hand washing. Wet hands with warm water. Apply a small amount of soap. Rub palms together. Rub fingers and thumbs and the bits in between. Rub nails on palms. Rub the back of each hand. Rinse with clean running water and dry thoroughly with a clean, dry towel.
Furthermore, it is advisable to cover your mouth and nose adequately when sneezing or coughing and immediately dispose of the tissue in a dustbin. Please do not use handkerchiefs if you can avoid it. If disposable tissue is unavailable, cough into your elbow. Try and avoid close contact with anyone showing signs of a respiratory illness, such as coughing or sneezing.
Before you share any coronavirus information on social media, please verify it with Ministry of Health to avoid panic and alarm among your fellow Kenyans.
Washing your hands with soap and water for 20 seconds. How does it help? Soap molecules have two halves. One half loves water and the other half loves fat. COVID-19's outer layer is made up of fat. So when you wash your hands, soap starts to bond with the fatty lipid membrane of the virus. When you rinse the soap off, the virus, which has bonded with the soap, is washed down the drain. Wash your hands with soap, covering your entire hand surface and rubbing your hands together for at least 20 seconds before rinsing the soap off with water. Message brought to you by Detrex Germ Protection Soap.
I help women find independence by training them in fish farming. It's tough on my back, joints, and can cause headaches. Panadol Extra relieves multiple types of pain. Panadol Extra, now with new Optizorb technology, to fight multiple tough pains with 3 times more pain-relieving medicine in the first 30 minutes when you need it most. Seeing them support themselves makes any pain worth it. If symptoms persist, seek medical advice.
When you're facing stubborn stains, you're always in a fierce fight. Clean Soft kicks out stains. Kiwateki.
Have you shared your bongo points with someone who needs them? Remember to help a friend or anyone in need to buy food using your bongo points. Stay at home, but still stay together with your loved ones and friends using bongo points. Share your story or video of how you've helped a fellow Kenyan to our FB page NTV Kenya, Twitter page at NTV Kenya, Instagram at NTV Kenya, SMS 20686 or our WhatsApp number 0745 925 002.
Welcome back. At least 1,250 people have been arrested on allegations of defying curfew orders in the country, with military officials, police officers and judiciary personnel being among them. This was revealed at the 35th session of the Senate Committee on COVID-19, where the Interior Ministry was put to task on how police officers are handling or mishandling Kenyans who are caught defying the curfew. It came to the fore yet again that the placement of curfew lawbreakers into mandatory quarantine is illegal, much as it was a directive from the president. So was this an executive misdirection? Helen Aura reports.
That there shall be cessation of all movement by road, rail, or air in and out of A, the Nairobi metropolitan area, and B, the counties of Kilifi, Kwale, and Mombasa.
April 6th,
2020, an indication that it was not business as usual. This directive saw many Kenyans caught on the wrong side of the law, while others were unfortunate subjects of the police officers' wrath. This led to loss of lives, putting the enforcers in conflict with the very law they are to enforce.
Officers are under instructions to exercise sound judgment and restraint in the use of force during the curfew hours. Currently, officers who have been implicated in misconduct while enforcing curfew orders are on interdiction, while investigations are ongoing. Upon completion of investigations, disciplinary actions will be taken, or where it is deemed necessary based on evidence, criminal prosecution will be undertaken.
The Ministry of Interior says that 1,254 people have been arrested so far for breaking the curfew law. Of this, 1,198 are civilians, 38 are police officers, 10 Kenya Defence Forces officers, 4 prison wardens, 4 National Government Administration officers, 3 officials from the judiciary, and 1 National Intelligence Service officer. Many who were arrested were taken into mandatory quarantine in line with orders from above. However, this presidential directive, it emerged, is considered an illegality.
Station commanders are under instructions to present suspect before court within 24 hours following arrest.
Those who were arrested and taken into quarantine were released before they had served their time in the facilities. This, sources indicate, was after the Director of Public Prosecutions indicated and told the Inspector General of Police that he has no mandate to take the curfew rule offenders into quarantine. Helen Aura, NTV.
They say a dog is a man's best friend. Well, not for every man. Isaac Kibet in the county of Elgeyo Marakwet has shocked many as he has adopted and is now living with a baboon. His wife and their 4 children abandoned him for insisting on staying with the ape. He has named the animal and has his surname to boot. Halima Gongo tells us more.
This is Samar village in Elgeyo Marakwet. We meet Isaac Kibet, a man whose close friend is not your everyday companion, a baboon who he has named Josephine Baboon Kibet.
Mpaka sasa ukimwita huyu mnyama Josephine Baboon Kibet anaitika, anakuja, anajua ni kama ni yeye ndio anatambuliwa.
He is often seen with the animal in his back, just as a father will play with his child, something that has left his neighbors and passers-by surprised. He was married and had 4 children with his wife, but she and the children left when he insisted on the baboon living with them. Scratch my back and I scratch yours is a daily norm for the two. He grooms the baboon the best he can.
Uwezo yangu kama ningekuwa na uwezo, ningempeleka shule hata nimnunulie nguo. Sipokuwa yeye mkia ndio ningemnunulia mpaka baika. Mpaka sweta yake.
Their bonding time is sometimes spent on technology, much amusement of many. Their relationship began when he found the then baby baboon in his farm.
Doga tabati cha nini mnyo yake. Ilikuwa pati kama mtoto tu. Hata mimi niliambia rutisha venye ulitoa, akaniambia wacha nibele kwa polisi.
He took it to the police station where he was advised to take the ape into his care. Kibet considers the baboon his 5th child.
Na mimi napekea ile chakula mimi nakula yeye anakula. Na nyama mimi mjomea nyama ama nimjemusia.
When Kibet leaves the house, he is forced to look for someone to offer daycare services, but most of the time he walks around with the baboon.
Watu wengine area hii wanachunga mbuzi, wanachunga hata kondoo, wakimcheka Kibet ya kwamba unachunga mnyama ambaye haikufaidi. Watu wa area hii wameniona chuki. Mbona unachunga watu yetu ya ile anakulanga mbuzi? Mimi nikamwambia wacha nichunge, wakikula mniulize. Ikikula mniulize.
Sometimes the baboon sneaks and follows him to the village drinking spot. His relationship has made him resist any animal poacher, and he hopes that one day he will work at the animal orphanage. Halima Gongo, NTV.
Well, thanks to Ken Ruta for helping us see this story. Quite peculiar, but to each his own. Parents whose children attend Brookhouse schools are now allowed to pay half of the school fees pro forma for this school a year's third term. This comes after the High Court ruled that they may be allowed to offset 50% of the dues in a ruling that is likely to speak to future incidents such as these. The court has further directed that the application filed by the parents be heard inter partes on 5th of May. The parents had filed a suit claiming that the international school was exploiting parents and guardians at a time when normal businesses have been disrupted. The parents had initially been given a 10% discount, which they claimed was too little. Across the country, parents with children in various private schools have also been calling out what they say are unfair and unreasonable school fee structures. The family of Terence Korir, the Nairobi banker whose body was found burned beyond recognition in his car, have called on the Director of Criminal Investigations to conduct thorough investigations into what happened. The family has come to the defense of Terence's widow after allegations that she was behind his ghastly death. Speaking in Chepkurbet village in Ainamoi constituency, Kericho County, the deceased father, Sami Martim, said he was yet to come to terms with the death of his son. The distraught mother said they last spoke on Tuesday, 5 p.m. when she called him to inquire about how he and his other siblings in Nairobi were coping with the lockdown. A postmortem was initially expected by the end of this week.
We received the news with shock. Mpaka sasa hatushaamini sana ya kwamba ilitendeka. And because of what is happening, ni usaidizi tungetaka ni government process ili watoto ile mwili ikuje Kericho, alafu itakuwa rahisi kwetu. Of course we cannot travel because of the current situation. We would appreciate any assistance either from the government or the county.
You are so jovial. Kwanza unasema na wamama na sons. We used to hug very much when he comes home. We used to hug and even chat a lot in the evening. But it came so abrupt.
Whatever the case and whatever was behind this, we say pole sana to the family, and we'll be following this particular story. The sports news is up next. Sean Carter-Willis is back.
Breastfeeding ruins the shape of your breasts. This myth is false. Feeding your baby at night makes breastfeeding easier. Yes, this is true. Small breasts can't produce enough milk. This myth is false.
Kiss Kids diapers. Kiss Kids, no rashes. Kiss Kids, no rashes. Bye-bye rashes. Buy diapers. Choose Kiss Kids.
When you're facing stubborn stains, you're always in a fierce fight. Clean Soft kicks out stains. Kimateki.
Welcome home to Amani Ridge, the place of peace. Your own urban sanctuary. A lifestyle waiting for you just 20 kilometers from the CBD. A place to unwind and get your health and fitness goals attained. A secure place for your family. A place for your children to have fun. A place to enjoy a sundowner. Success just doesn't happen. You have to make it happen. Make the impossible possible. Invest in Amani Ridge, the place of peace. Luxury you can afford. Call us today on 0790 300 300 or visit www.optivan.co.ke.
This week on The Trend.
the forum where they should go and raise whatever issues they might have.
However, KPL Chairman Jack Oguda responded by letter to dispute Mendes' tweets by saying, quote, KPL, who has the legal mandate to run the league, would wish to be furnished with the minutes of the meeting, which deliberated upon the matter in question with the subsequent resolution already conveyed to the public by the FKF. Your kind and quick response will enable the KPL Governing Council to convene and internalize the decision so far communicated. For avoidance of doubt, this is to bring to your attention that the KPL will not be party to such decisions that is contemptuous with the SDT ruling delivered. The KPL suspended the league indefinitely to conform to government directives to fight the spread of coronavirus, and with the extension of the tight regulations such as the ban on use of all public sporting facilities, night curfew and inter-county travel, it was clear the season would not end on the 8th of May as initially planned. So courtesy of FKF President Nick Mwendua's proclamation, Gor Mahia have won their 4th Kenyan Premier League title on the trot. Prolific former Gor Mahia striker Jacques Tuisenge, who moved from Kagalo to Angola's Petro de Luanda in 2019, spoke to NTV Sport from his base in the capital Luanda and had his say on the controversial decision.
Kitu ya kwanza naweza nikacongratulate Gor Mahia kwa kuwa amechukua ubingwa. Mimi kivyangu naweza nikaona pengine decision nzuri ndio wapange next season. Hii ngoja si ya kuisha leo ama kesho.
Staying with football, African football legend Samuel Eto'o is in favour of postponing the 2021 Africa Cup of Nations due to the adverse effects of the corona pandemic. The Cameroonian emphasised that the most important thing is people's health. The Continental Championship is scheduled to be played in Cameroon in January, but with just 2 rounds of the qualifying completed so far and no return in sight for international football, that looks highly unlikely. In the case that it is pushed forward, it would have to contend with an insanely packed 2021 that, amongst many others, will see the Olympics and Euros take place. And not forgetting that the Africa must start group stage qualifying for the 2022 FIFA World Cup in Qatar, which will put further pressure on the calendar. Manchester United players have been told to prepare for a return to training on the 18th of May and to clean their own kits since the usual laundry facilities won't be available at the club. United are gearing up for the Premier League to resume on the 8th of June with a mini pre-season lasting 3 weeks. Furthermore, United have received permission to install 1,500 barrier seats at Old Trafford as a trial measure to mitigate standing in the stadium. Now, if the trial proves successful, the club will look to install barrier seats in other areas of the stadium. It's hoped that the Premier League can start up again in June and finish by the end of July with United, Manchester City, Chelsea and Wolves set to return to European action in August. All right, just one quick note where Paris Saint-Germain have been awarded the Ligue 1 title. We do know, of course, and we've been speaking about this, about leagues, how they're going ahead. Are they being postponed? Are they being cancelled? Are they resuming? Well, I can tell you that the league has been cancelled in France and Paris Saint-Germain have been awarded the league title. Back to you, Mark.
And that's why Sean and Ida do the sports, because I'd have told you it's Paris Saint-Germain or something close to that. But hey, he'll be back tomorrow night with the sports of the day. And now, just as a wind-up, something that we had actually promoted for the bulletin, and it's unfortunate that Mamo Ali's full package can't air tonight, but we can give you a bit of the details there. NTV can report that at least 22 people have died from a cholera outbreak in Marsabit County, and this is confirmed by our reporter there, Mamo Ali. The worst affected area is in the last week, it just happened in the last week in in Ileret Ward and in Ileret Ward, Ilolo and Selicho villages in the last 1 week. At least 150 people from along the shores of Lake Turkana are said to have been diagnosed with cholera that was first reported in Ilolo village in along the Kenya-Ethiopia border, and this has been, of course, exacerbated by the rainfall that has also caused situation and the cases of malaria to rise. Let's listen in.
Asubuhi saa 12 kufika, sisi tumekuja kwa hospitali saa 2 kuelekea saa 3, daktari akatoka Ileret, na hospitali hakukuwa na madawa au kuwa na maji, yote haina usaidizi tulipata jana na juzi na jana. Sasa mimi saizi ni kuumia wa vijana wawili kwa mwaka wawili wanaenda wanafuatana. Mpaka saizi mimi nilikuwa na watoto wanne, saizi mimi nimebakiwa na watoto wawili. Hapa hakuna choo, kila mtu anahara tambarari. Samaki naletwa huko Rifa Omo. Na hakuna madawa, hakuna mashimo wanachimba, wanamwaga kwa tambarari, watoto wanaenda wanakula ile ambayo imeoza chafu kama hiyo. Cholera hiyo kitu ndio inaleta.
We have shortage of pit latrines, and if you can imagine now, this population, most of the people use bush toilet. If it gets to a point where by now these things spread, even comes to Ileret and to the forest, you know, I don't think, you know, it will really strain even the resources that the county government of Marsabit has.
Venye sisi tunakaa, wananchi wa serikali wote itaisha, serikali watusaidie kabisa. Maoni ya leo kabisa, watoto wameisha, so watu wazima. Ugonjwa imeharibika, sio ugonjwa tu peke yake. Malaria imekuwa kali, kichwa imekuwa kali, kuendesha imekuwa kali. Serikali watusaidie kabisa.
Situation in Marsabit, something to think about, even as many of us are, thinking of the downside of life given the COVID-19 pandemic. Others in Marsabit, they're just thinking about the cholera outbreak that has claimed at least 22 lives so far in the past 1 week. And those are some of the families you can think about as you pray this evening before you get to sleep. If you don't pray, I'll pray for you. At least just think of them as you go to rest and see that others do have it worse than us. We'll be following this particular story up, and thanks to those who've made this particular broadcast possible, to our producer Dan Mwangi and the reporters, and as well as Mike, our director, who actually called me a baboon. I wonder why. Thank you for watching. Good night.
During this period and always, bank different by avoiding interest in all your